With Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow all out of the picture, the Avengers are a team without much of a roster. New heroes like Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel are sure to fill their shoes, but someone's got to be there to help the transition from old to new. That's where the Hulk, Professor Hulk, comes into play. And intro. He'll act as the bridge that brings about a whole new era of Avengers. Just because all of their original players aren't around anymore doesn't mean Marvel's gonna stop making Avengers movies anytime soon. Do you have any idea how much money that name rakes in? They're likely to keep making Avengers movies for as long as movies exist, but it'll be Professor Hulk who gets them from the originals to this new phase of heroes. Let's go back to the beginning and really get a sound understanding of what the Hulk means to the MCU and where he currently stands. The one and only standalone Hulk movie, which came out in 2008, right after Iron Man officially launched the MCU, was widely considered an epic fail. Marvel's second swing at a blockbuster didn't quite connect, and the character was repackaged. Following the big-budget failure, the studio switched actors from Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo, which completely and utterly salvaged the role. According to several reports, Norton was a handful on set. He apparently insisted on rewriting large portions of the movie, even while in the midst of filming. For lack of a better word, he's been known to be peculiar, which has absolutely worked in his favor on several occasions. No disrespect to Edward Norton, but this Hulk movie was absolutely not one of those occasions. The switch to Ruffalo was a fantastic one, as the character got an entirely new sensitivity and quirkiness.
And Mark's got 4 kids who are awesome.
So it's like...
Ruffalo is a good Hulk, but he's an absolutely fantastic Bruce Banner, playing the role of mild-mannered scientist burdened with this power to perfection. Since appearing in 2012's original Avengers movie, Ruffalo has had roles in Iron Man 3, Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, Captain Marvel, and Avengers Endgame. He's been a staple in the MCU, so much so that he's kind of the last original Avenger left standing. As mentioned earlier, Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow are all done, and Hawkeye's reportedly jumping over to Disney Plus now that he's got his family back from the snap. That just leaves Professor Hulk out of the original roster. But what can they do with him? Ruffalo still hasn't done a standalone Hulk movie, but there's no plans to venture down that road anytime soon. He still has 2 movies left on his contract, so it's safe to assume that the big screen Professor will be showing up in some upcoming releases. He's sort of the only main character in the MCU without a story to tell, though. Think about it, his arc is kind of finished. At first, he struggled mightily with his alter ego. He was slowly able to get a grip on it, and rather than treat the Hulk like a burden, Bruce learned how to live with it and eventually merged the two together, creating the Professor Hulk persona.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
His inner turmoil appears to be solved, and he seems to be happy. Although it's a cool conclusion for the character, it kinda sucks for the audience. After all, Bruce Banner and the Hulk were 2 incredibly interesting and compelling characters in their own right. Now that they're merged together and it's irreversible, we kind of lost 2 awesome characters in exchange for one watered-down version of both. He's not the wild and untamed Incredible Hulk of old, nor is he the timid and geeky scientist. He's just big and famous now with some weird skin and sausage fingers that are probably definitely not helpful for experiments. According to Ruffalo, MCU chief Kevin Feige pulled him aside and said, quote, "If we were gonna do a standalone Hulk movie, what would it be?" Ruffalo responded, quote, "I think it should be this, 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 and this, and ends up like this." To which Kevin replied, "I love that. Why don't we do that in the next 3 movies, starting with Thor 3, and then going into Avengers 3 and 4. So, Mark Ruffalo wrote the entire story arc of his character, apparently? And he did so on the spot to boot? That's interesting. It's also telling that the Hulk character arc is, by their own admission, finished. They did it. So what happens now? He's still there, but he has nothing to do, really. What could they possibly have in store for the role with 2 more movies left to go? Well, I have some theories. The first idea that comes to mind is a standalone Hulk movie. I know there's a sour taste in everyone's mouth from the last standalone Hulk movie, but that was over a decade ago, and that was before Mark Ruffalo was at the helm. I have complete confidence in Ruffalo, as well as Marvel's ability to hit a home run with this one. They could even incorporate his newfound fame and use that as a major theme of the film. Unfortunately, this one is unlikely to happen. The rumor mill has been buzzing lately with all sorts of new Marvel releases in the pipeline, but there's been absolutely no talk of a Hulk movie. That isn't to say it's impossible. Marvel does love throwing out curveballs, but it's unlikely to happen without any sort of build-up first. Another option is they incorporate Hulk into the upcoming Black Widow movie. Yes, Black Widow is no longer a part of the MCU as she famously sacrificed herself for the good of the mission in Endgame, but that isn't stopping Marvel from releasing a standalone movie about her. It's about time, too, seeing as how she's been one of the coolest characters in the MCU for a long time, and her checkered past will surely make for a compelling flashback story. The movie is rumored to focus on her background as a Russian spy, and bring us all the way into the 2000s to her work with S.H.I.E.L.D. just prior to forming the Avengers. There was quite a bit of romantic tension between the Black Widow character and the Hulk character in the movies, but it was never fully developed or expanded upon. We were led down the path of a potential love interest budding between the two, only for it to be a dead end. Audiences were expecting some sort of awesome payoff between Bruce and Natasha that we just never got, so perhaps one of Ruffalo's upcoming appearances will be as a featured part of Black Widow's backstory. It would give them a chance to really explore the relationship between these two and give us some context for their turbulent feelings for one another. It would offer some much-needed closure for a relationship that could have been, should have been, and honestly, may have been. Finally, my take on how they'll use Professor Hulk going forward is in more of a mentor and coach capacity. As the only original Avenger left, it'll be on him to assemble a new squad of heroes. It's safe to assume that Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange will all factor into some kind of an ensemble movie together. But how will they assemble? Who will bring them together? Who will bridge the gap between old and new? That's for Professor Hulk to do. Throw a hoodie on him and call him Bill Belichick because Hulk is going to be the coach of this new squad. As the elder statesman, it'll be on him to get the next generation of heroes working together and efficiently. He probably doesn't have the same type of impact that he used to. When the Hulk was really hulking out hard, he was a beast. His strength and aggression was comparable to anyone in the entire galaxy. He was also a live wire and completely impossible to tame or control. Now that he's permanently Professor Hulk, we're unlikely to see that side of the character again. With Bruce Banner at the helm, it's unlikely that he'll lose control and rage out anymore. He's still big and strong, but he's now a fraction of how lethal he used to be. That doesn't mean he still can't provide a slew of value to the team. Beyond just his wisdom and veteran leadership, he's still a brilliant scientist. Bruce had a fantastic rapport with Tony Stark as the two tech leaders of the squad. With Tony now gone, perhaps Shuri will step in and work alongside Bruce to develop new innovations for heroes to utilize. After all, we have no clue how badly injured he is after the events of Endgame. Professor Hulk used the Infinity Gauntlet to bring back half of all life in the universe, which isn't as easy as it sounds. The results caused some pretty gnarly injuries on his snapping hand. By the end of the film, we saw him with his arm in a sling, so there's no telling just how bad the arm is or how limited it makes him moving forward. For all we know, the effects of reversing the snap could very well be permanent and he'll never be the same again. There are a number of different routes they could take the Hulk, although none of them seem necessary right now. It's not like Marvel to force stories that aren't natural, so I wonder how they handle the role and Ruffalo's 2 remaining movies. Surely he can be a valuable asset in some capacity. What do you think? How do you see Professor Hulk factoring into future Marvel movies? Will he get a standalone film of his own, or will they make him part of another franchise? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Hey, we may even shout you out in a future video, so keep an eye out and see if your name shows up. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to Behind the Screen for all of our latest releases. If you just hit that little bell icon, you'll get notified when we put out a new video, so you can be one of the first to catch it. Until next time, bye!